What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about current news in Norway. Because as an American, I never get to see Norwegian news here in the United States from any of our news outlets or media. So today, I'd like to take some time to learn about the current news and events happening in Norway right now, starting with threat levels highest in decades. What? What is this? What kind of what kind of headline is that? Threat levels highest in decades in Norway? What is this? This is kind of like that's alarming. That's a scary headline, right? Threat levels highest in decades? What does this mean? Norway's national security and intelligence agencies released their evaluations of threats against Norway on Monday. And they're the highest and most serious in decades. What? This is alarming. This is brand new news to me. I mean, this report just came out, huh? Oh my God. Norway's Security and Intelligence Agency, they just released an evaluation that threats against Norway are the highest and most serious in decades. That's terrifying. I imagine Norwegians are alarmed by this. Very, very disturbed by this. What? I'd like to read more here. What exactly is Norway most threatened against? What has made this so serious of a threat? This is scary, honestly. China and Norway's neighboring Russia, that makes sense, still pose the biggest threats, they claim, while the threat of terrorist attacks is moderate? What? This is just coming out of nowhere for me. I'm American. Maybe I'm out of touch. But Norway feels like there's a moderate threat of terrorist attacks. That's terrifying. Now this part makes a little more sense. Norway is most concerned about neighboring Russia, who's still in a conflict with Ukraine. Norway is, in that area, still pose the biggest threats, and Norway shares a small border with Russia. And China as well. I didn't know Norway considered China like a biggest threat as well. That's interesting. Oh my God. So this is a report that just came out for Norway, huh? Okay. They presented ominous outlooks for 2024. Wow! The evaluations come from Norway's Foreign and Military Intelligence Agency, E-Tjenesten. Oh, so this is Norway's intelligence service. I didn't know about this. This is like the American CIA or FBI. It's an intelligence agency in Norway. Cool. E-Tjenesten. Its domestic police agency, PST, and its national security agency, NSM. All for Norway. Their chiefs gathered along with the Norwegian defense and justice ministers to put forth their national threat evaluations for 2024. This is not this is not the news that I hoped I would be reading today, but it's good to be aware of these things. And certainly for Norwegians who are directly affected by this is scary, but it's good to be informed and educated about this. I really sympathize, though. They've grown more ominous than they were just 1 year ago. Developments have unfortunately gone the wrong direction. It's a more dangerous situation now than in 2023. Wow. This is the kind of stuff that just is not talked about. Here in the United States, I had no idea that Norway felt like it was under this much of threat. Obviously, here in the United States, we have a totally different, way of thinking because, the United States, to us, we feel like we're so far away from all that. We're so far away from Europe or anything that's happening in that area. I think Americans feel almost like a little too safe. Like we're just not under any threat because we're so far away, which, that's not the greatest way to think as well, because you don't want to get too complacent. But Norway, obviously, geographically, on the map, is in the area, which is scary. I've never really thought about it like that. Um, Fellow intelligence chiefs call the reports assessments of current security challenges, but the message is clear. Russia appears to be stronger now in the war against Ukraine than 1 year ago. While cooperation among authoritarian and non-democratic nations is spreading, they want to challenge the West's dominance, as they put it. Wow. Wow. Well, it's good that Norway is like on top of this and aware of this and assessing the situation. I'm part of the West, so this affects me. They want to challenge the West's dominance. Oh, man. Russian military production is in high gear? Wow. China, Belarus, Iran, North Korea offering considerable material support for Russia that boosts the military threat, a threat to Norway's sovereignty, its people, territory, public functions, and infrastructure. That is absolutely terrifying. Israel's war on Gaza has created more catastrophe in the Middle East. China is keen on protecting its trade and economic position. Norwegian foreign minister just returned from China, where he found some common ground. Wow. Norway's intelligence experts warn, nonetheless, China wants more control over its production, trade of exports, relations to Western nations are tense. China seeks more influence in the Arctic. Wow. There's a lot of stuff here. I don't want this one article to take up this entire video, but I do feel like this deserves a fair bit of attention from me today, because this is huge. I had not heard about this, and no one has talked about this in American news that I'm aware of. Asked whether this may building up to a third world war, we must be honest and say that the security and political situation is more dangerous, with negative development regarding threats to Norway and Europe. They think it's very positive, though. Sweden and Finland are joining NATO because that strengthens Norway's security. Good. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has brought the West tighter together, strengthening NATO. True. Wow, man. Russia's war on Ukraine has the greatest impact on national security. Okay. That seems to be a huge one here. Norway is a safe country, and the danger for a regular invasion is low. Right, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I think practically, I hope that there's no actual real threat of Norway being, like, attacked or invaded, God forbid. So they think that's low. But we must be prepared for greater uncertainty following developments and react faster than there was a need for years ago. Wow, what a report. That's awesome that Norway is kind of on top of that, thinking about it, recognizing the situation, and already aware of what it needs to be doing, and like watching. And oh my, that was just shocking. That article was genuinely shocking to me. Okay, let's keep going. Norway mum on its chaotic exit from Afghanistan. Oh man, yeah. America had a pretty chaotic exit from Afghanistan as well. There's been lots of criticism and disagreement over how Norway handled its withdrawal from Afghanistan after the Taliban seized control in 2021. This is literally exactly what the American media said about America withdrawing from Afghanistan. A lot of criticism, a very like people are not happy with how that was handled and how the Taliban basically seized control. And the Taliban, if I remember, like basically got control over a lot of American resources and military equipment and weapons that we left there when America withdrew from Afghanistan. That was a few years ago. I haven't thought about that in a while. And Norway feels very similar about that. I didn't know that. All right, what else do we have here? Pressure grows on Eurovision entry. Oh, okay. This is okay. This is a little. Finally, finally, we kind of have an article here that doesn't have to do with like the horrors of the world and death and fear of death and destruction and military conflicts. And this is just Eurovision. Good. I know a little bit about Eurovision. I reacted to Norway's Eurovision fairy tale, I think it's called. That was fun. I remember reacting to that. So is Eurovision coming around? And there's pressure on Norway's Eurovision entry. The Norwegian folk rock band Got. Okay, I haven't heard of them. Norwegian folk rock band Got is hyped as having a solid chance of winning the even more hyped Eurovision Song Contest in May. Oh, Eurovision is coming in May. I didn't know that. Cool. And you have to don't you have to create your own song to enter that contest? Norway has won Eurovision. So Norway's excited and has a good band that's entering. Okay. The band's members are under huge pressure. Yeah. Though over whether to perform at all, if it means sharing the stage with a country that's killed more than 25,000 civilians and children in Gaza. Oh, this is like some kind of anti-Israel, Palestine, politics happening in the Norway's Eurovision entry? They don't want to share the stage with Israel? Yeah, I think that's what this is. Gunhilded Sunduni, this person, I think, delivered a performance of the band's song Ulvham that helped them win last weekend's Norwegian finals for the Eurovision Song Contest. Oh, there's like a contest within Norway to decide who will get to be the Norway's representatives in Eurovision, basically. Now the band, like many Eurovision contestants, is grappling with the issue of sharing the stage with a country that's waging war in the Middle East. Okay. Could the same be said for sharing the stage with Russia? Is Russia in Eurovision? I don't know. Maybe not, huh? And now there's people who want to protest Eurovision because of the war. Opposition to Israel's war on Gaza's Hamas leaders is strong in Norway, where the government condemned Hamas's attack on Israeli civilians, but have also claimed Israel has gone too far in its response. Yes, and obviously that conflict is still ongoing. There's a lot of mixed opinions on that here in the United States. Again, we're so far away from all that. It's kind of funny that so many Americans have such a strong opinion on that. But it makes sense to me that Norwegians probably have opinions on this as well. It's interesting to hear about this because this is a discussion, really a political debate that's happening in America quite a bit. And I didn't know it was so much of a debate in Norway as well. There's also ties to a Russian producer that's been questioned. Okay. I didn't know this was like a political thing. I thought that Norway was just having a lot of pressure to make a good Eurovision entry. Instead, it's growing into like a political sort of debate. Interesting. Norway finds common ground with China on support for Palestinians. Oh, we heard about that a little bit in the article on Norwegian threat levels, where Norway, their uh, their liaison to China, their diplomatic tie to China, like they had a discussion and found some common ground with China. So Norway feels maybe a little bit better about that. Okay, okay. What else do we have here? Sparks fly around Bordeaux's opening as a European capital of culture. I heard about this recently. Yeah, about Bordeaux. Bordeaux? I think I'm saying this wrong. Bordeaux? Anyway, they're becoming a European capital of culture, and that this is very big news. Norway's northern city of Bordeaux defied all the odds and could officially start its year this week as a European capital of culture. Yeah, this is a really big honor being bestowed on the Norwegian city. I'm not sure exactly what this means. And sparks are flying, apparently, whatever that means. Neither hurricanes or power failures, nor the costly effects of high inflation, halted the opening ceremonies. Oh, okay, so there were opening ceremonies for this new European capital of culture in Norway, but the show did spark some controversy. Man, what doesn't spark some controversy these days? I tell you. Um, it was a huge relief to organizers that the ceremonies could be held at all, because Bodo was badly battered by a hurricane. Yeah, I read about some of that in the other Norwegian news videos that I have done. I heard about that. My heart really goes out to Norwegians affected by all this weather, hurricanes, snowstorms. Now there's like Norwegian threat levels are at its highest in decades. This is a lot of scary, sort of traumatic stuff happening in Norway that I'm learning about through the news. And my heart really goes out to Norway, honestly. This is kind of sad stuff to read about, but I'm glad that I'm aware of it, you know? Most Americans don't know anything about this stuff at all. So I'm glad I at least am aware of it. And, you know, my sympathy can only go so far to actually help, but I do sympathize. Um, the floating stage and props were at risk. Okay. Not all of them were as enthusiastic when it was all over. There was a debate flying among spectators. Many complained on social media and other channels that the ceremonies were dominated by the culture and frustration of the Sami, Norway's indigenous people. Right. So the Norwegian Sami were frustrated with this. They don't like this. Oh, they were also celebrating their national day. Oh, it overlapped with the Sami National Day? Hmm. Um, anything else? And there were some Sami in attendance voicing their disapproval. The debate got so heated, the mayor called on residents to calm and distance themselves from hateful comments on social media. The Sami have been targets of hatred, and the nasty comments circulating on Sunday and Monday were wanting to stop. Wow. Oh, I didn't know about all this. This is a bit of a, I don't know, sort of an issue happening, a very, very specific sort of issue happening in Norway. That's very, very specific. Interesting. Interesting. Man, too bad. That's too bad, because it could have just been like a nice opening for a really cool event happening in Bordeaux. But it seems like there's a lot of controversy around it, unfortunately. Um, Man, is there anything else here for today? Norwegian government appeals its oil field loss in court. Norway trying to appeal a court decision for oil. It's appealing a recent court ruling that it failed to comply with an earlier Supreme Court decision, which demands climate impact assessments for new offshore oil and gas. So Norway failed to comply with some oil and gas regulations, and they're contesting that. I know a lot of people are already like upset with Norway about like pursuing like undersea mining and oil and stuff. And so this is just more people that are again, once again, mad at Norway for oil. Okay, I've been seeing that a lot in the news as well recently. Interesting stuff. Again, this definitely was the highlight for me today. Threat levels highest in decades in Norway. That's scary. I didn't know about that. This is a really recent report that's come out by Norwegian intelligence agencies, and that's scary. I didn't know about that. Really, my heart does go out. That's terrifying. But it's cool to see that Norway like has a really high functioning intelligence agencies that are aware of all this. But it's scary. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I enjoyed all the news here today, because some of it was kind of sad or scary, but I enjoyed getting up to date on all the Norwegian news today, for sure. So anyway, if you enjoyed this today, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of this Norwegian news. That'd be great. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.